Hey everybody, it's Chase with AV Pop Culture again, and today we are here to rank the greatest, the most iconic, the most badass practical effects movie monsters of all time. So pop that tape in, I got you, let's go do this. All right, so movie monsters, but practical effects movie monsters. In a day and age where everything is CGI'd to death, the ones that have the best makeup, the most iconic monsters, the coolest stuff, that is what lasts. That is what holds up. Some of the most bonkers creatures you're ever going to see, the stuff of nightmares, and I love it all. And I know you do too. We are celebrating halfway to Halloween with some of the most badass monsters to ever grace the cinema. I've got the top 13. So let's jump right into it. At number 13 are those crazy critters from Tremors. Now, growing up, this was a very iconic movie. I watched this movie so many times. And when you really look at these monsters, they are impressively done. They hold up today. There's nothing they could do with CGI that would look better than the monsters in this movie. Of course, Kevin Bacon stars in this movie. These prehistoric type underground giant worm tunnel monsters with snakes coming out of their mouth that don't really see, but they feel the vibrations in the ground. They can hear you. They come up from underneath and take you down. These things are badass. They move fast. They are huge. They are nightmare fuel for someone that like me that doesn't like snakes. These things basically have multiple snakes that come out of their mouth, and the effects work on these is incredible. I dare Hollywood to try to do anything better with CGI, because to this day, you can put in the original Tremors and these monsters hold up. It had to make the list. Tremors comes in at number 13. Now, number 12 is one that would be a little bit higher if it had a specific monster. But because it's kind of all over the place, very H.P. Lovecraft, it just has a bunch of different things going on that are totally badass. I am talking about From Beyond. Now, if you follow this channel, it's no secret that I love this movie. Barbara Crampton, I love. She's still gorgeous to this day. And Jeffrey Combs, he just always worked in these type of Stuart Gordon films. These two teamed up a lot. But this movie about a resonator that opens doors to a parallel universe, very Lovecraft. But the monsters from that other universe come in here. They affect the pineal gland in the brain, and that sort of deals with your libido, things like that. People become very different. And it kind of has body horror like a Cronenberg or The Thing. I mean, but the practical effects in this, the makeup work for everything that happens that has to just be dreamed up out of an H.P. Lovecraft nightmare is insane. And then you twist that up with the kind of naughtiness, and it just kind of makes these things stick in your head so much more. But there is no doubt that some of the makeup work, I mean, you got people peeling their face off and then becoming this monster, and different creatures from the other world, all of that, a very Tremors looking monster in this thing. From Beyond just has it all for me. Definitely check it out. If there was one specific monster that haunted the whole movie, this would probably be higher, but because it's like a conglomeration of different horrific things, comes in a little bit lower at number 12. Now, at number 11 on this list is one that, as a filmmaker myself, a horror filmmaker, I struggle to understand how they did this with the stuff that they used. But I am talking about The Blob from 1988, I believe it is. This is the Kevin Dillon one, Shawnee Smith in this movie. And it's a remake of the 1950s classic that starred Steve McQueen. The effects in this are much better. You basically have a otherworldly blob, an entity that crash lands into this town and proceeds to eat everything, consume everything, this big gelatinous thing. And the way they kind of go with that, and I think they use like spandex and different glitter, like all kinds of weird things. How they got these effects, especially where you see the blob itself like take someone. There's a scene where Shawnee Smith, hopefully I'm able to show it to you, where she is trying to pull the guy out as it's taking him. I still don't know how they did it with the materials they have. As a filmmaker, it's impressive as hell. You could argue maybe that it should be up higher, but the Blob is definitely on this list. And as a little, monster movie goodness here, I have something that is a little ode to the Blob. What's been eating you? How can I pay homage? How can I say thank you to the Blob for being so great when it comes to practical effects? Well, maybe we bite back. I can't think of the Blob without thinking of Jello, the eyes moving around here. So, let's just dig right in to the Blob. The Blob coming in on the list at number 11. All right, at number 10 on the list is a movie that's actually hard for me to watch. This is a Cronenberg film. I'm up and down with Cronenberg, but there is no denying the makeup in this movie, the practical effects. That's part of what makes it so disturbing to watch. I'm talking about The Fly. The transformation, the descent into madness and into hopelessness, this terrifying allegory for disease or whatever you want to say, the transformation, getting older. There's all kinds of things that have been applied to this transformation in The Fly. Yet another remake of a classic film, though this stands alone. Jeff Goldblum, I've seen videos where he talks about this, about everything that he went through with putting the makeup on, testing the makeup, and becoming this thing. And it's to this day an emotional experience for him to watch because it was so intense what they did, how it transformed him and put him into that headspace of The Fly. There's just heartbreaking and terrifying quotes in this movie. I was an insect that dreamed he was a man, but now I'm awake. That whole sequence right there, very strong. This one has to be here. Cronenberg, famous for his body horror, but this is one that definitely has to be on this list. The Fly, checking in at number 10. Now, at number 9 is one that is maybe one of the most iconic on here when it comes to a specific scene, but maybe because it doesn't carry that level through the whole thing, I might have it surprisingly low to some of you. I am talking about American Werewolf in London. Now, this scene, you have the iconic transformation, the werewolf transformation scene. Rick Baker, he had left The Howling. He was coming over to do American Werewolf in London. And this is truly groundbreaking practical effects done with pneumatics, air pistons, all the latex, all this kind of stuff. Just incredible work. Oscar winning makeup on here. But maybe it doesn't go throughout the whole movie. The whole movie maybe doesn't stand up to that. And werewolves are hard to do, though. When you do a werewolf practically running around, that is one of my favorite things on earth to see on film. American Werewolf in London, if for nothing else, that transformation must be on a list like this. It comes in at number 9. Now, at number 8 on the list is maybe one you don't think of. This is more fantasy than horror, but for me, it was the stuff of nightmares as a kid and conjured up my vision of what the devil looks like. I am talking about the darkness in Legend. Tim Curry's transformation into the darkness, this makeup, I mean, famously, he went through painstaking layers of makeup to transform into basically a child's nightmare vision of the devil himself. And for me, as a kid, this became the cemented thing that I pictured as the devil in my imagination when someone spoke about the devil, when I read about Satan, when I dreamed and had nightmares about it. It was the darkness that gave me that image because this was so powerful and scary. And then you throw the voice with it and the way he moved around and muscular and just everything about him is imposing and terrifying. And it's being filmed by Scott with, Ridley Scott with all these flames coming up like you are literally in hell itself fighting the devil. Absolutely incredible. So maybe while fantasy, it is a permanent mark on me as creating a visual image that my imagination had always saw as the devil himself. The darkness from Legend comes in on our list at number 8. Now at number 7 on the list is one that has to be here. One of the most iconic and legendary practical effects movie monsters of all time. Nightmare on Elm Street's Freddy Krueger. No way this couldn't be there. He had to be here, and it doesn't matter what incarnation of Freddy Krueger. I actually personally, I love the original, the first film, how he looks. It's still my favorite film, but pushing it surprisingly is the very dark, demonic, devil-like version that they're hinting at that he is in A New Nightmare. And he has some tweaks all the way through in different movies, even tweaks again in like Freddy vs. Jason, all of that stuff. But no matter what, the practical effects that created him and the labor-intensive chair setting that he had to go through, that Robert Englund had to go through to create this legendary character is undeniable. You sell it. He's burned over his whole body. There's as the movies go, they do more and more things. You see the souls trying to come out of his body. There are so many things that are just incredibly done with old school movie magic, practical makeup, and established by Wes Craven and Robert Englund as one of the greatest movie monsters in the history of cinema. Nightmare on Elm Street's Freddy Krueger has to come in on our list at number 7. Now, at number 6 on the list is one that a lot of you may not even know. Some people may not even know this monster or this movie, and you may not be thinking of it, but I'm going to tell you it deserves to be here, and some could argue it could be higher. I'm talking about Molasar in The Keep. If you've never seen this, do yourself a favor and do it. It's not the whole movie that was intended to be there by Michael Mann, but you have this otherworldly, powerful being monster here that if you factored in the visual effects that they added to him, like on set visual effects, not digital effects afterwards, but on set visual effects like smoke effects and all of these kind of things. If you factored all that into the practical just monster itself, I would say this would be higher. This monster exists in such a way that a lot of what was done with him still can't be duplicated to this day because the visual effects person passed away before this was finished, and he didn't tell anybody how he was accomplishing these things. So there's moments in the movie where maybe things don't track, where things had to get cut out. because he literally took the secrets of how to do this to his grave, and a lot of stuff hasn't been able to be duplicated because they didn't know the processes that went into it. But this character is imposing. He speaks different, he looks different, he feels different, his skin is different. Is he a demon? Is he an alien? Is he an interdimensional being? Is he an old god? What is he? We don't know. And that adds to the mystery. But he has such a presence when he comes on screen that it just makes you stand up and pay attention. You have to see The Keep if you have not. And I have to have him this high. I have to have Molazar this high. And if you haven't seen it, check it out. And I think you'll agree with me. Comes in at number 6. Now, at number 5 on the list is a Stan Winston creation. You had to be waiting on this. I am talking about Pumpkinhead. Now, I could also say that Pumpkinhead could be higher because what was done with this character, with this monster, is also not easily duplicated. And this is kind of a folk horror. The Pumpkinhead is a monster, a demon that is summoned to get revenge after Lance Henriksen's son is killed in the movie. All of that stands second when you watch the film to the incredible monster effects and creation here. And I believe there's a whole documentary on here that you can find about the making of the monster Stan Winston creation. The Pumpkinhead himself just makes you pay attention when he comes on screen, much like Molazar from The Keep. It's something that you want to see more of. You don't want the illusion ruined, but it's so incredible. It's so engrossing that you just sit there transfixed and you want to see more. That is the power of great practical effects that CGI will never get because well, it's CGI, it's not there. No, these monsters were there on set with the people. That adds a whole different element. Pumpkinhead has to be here, cracking the top 5 at number 5. Now at number 4 is another one that maybe if it had just one monster that you could zero in on, could be even higher, and it's one you're probably not thinking of because I don't think it gets the credit it deserves for some of the most incredible practical effects ever in movies, but definitely from the 80s. I am talking about Fright Night. And this movie, holy smokes. So you have a lot of different effects in here. You have different vampire effects. You have different bat effects, wolf type effects, body transformation from a wolf back to a human effects, different stages of vampirism, all kinds of stuff that is just seamlessly put in this movie. And I think taken for granted a lot of times that it was easy or whatever. The makeup here is second to none, really. It is that good. And I just don't think it's one that a lot of people pop in their head when they think about practical effects and some of the best practical effects ever in movies. But this one is here. I mean, it deserves every bit of the recognition to be this high on this list. When you take in Jerry Dandrich's transformation and different levels of being a vampire, but then when the girl gets transformed into a vampire and the mouth goes open, that was the stuff of nightmare fuel for me when I was younger, when this movie first came out. And when you compare how badass that looked, how visually striking that looked to the remakes CGI, you see the weakness of CGI. There is a realism, a charm, a feeling, and engrossing nature that helps you suspend your disbelief when it comes to practical effects, because it is there and you can touch it that CGI just can't touch. And when you see those side-by-side comparisons, you realize practical effects are the way. This is the way. Go back and watch Fright Night for the effects, and you will be impressed. For me, it comes in at number 4. Now, at number 3 on the list, now we're in the top 3, and the top 3 is splitting hairs, and you could really rearrange these in any order because you have some of the most well-known monsters and films of all time. And coming in at number 3 is the Xenomorph from Alien. So get away from me, you bitch, if you don't agree with this. The Alien creation, the way that monster looks, everything about it, its blood being acid, all of that stuff, like otherworldly creative ability to come up with that and then to make it real with practical effects. The mouth with the extra thing coming out, and we're not even talking about the face huggers or the chest bursters, all of that stuff, incredible makeup effects there too. Aliens, those two are it for me, like as far as that goes, as the examples of the two best films in that franchise. But any chance that you can see this character, which has become ubiquitous throughout our culture, throughout the world, is part of the pop culture zeitgeist, you would find anyone hard-pressed not to know the image of what that looks like. Just incredible design. Absolutely incredible. Alien coming in at number 3. Now, number 2 goes hand in hand with number 3. You could really flip-flop them, but number 2 is in one of my favorite movies of all time, like top 5 favorite movies of all time. We are talking about The Predator from Predator. Now, they're doing some things right now as we speak with a new one that maybe I will address, but what have they done to my boy? The new Predator design is not it. This is it. It has never been able to be properly duplicated. And the fact that this is also like Alien is from 1979 and this is from the 80s. The fact that they still hold up well and they're not really, you can't improve on them. You can't improve on them. And CGI is never going to improve on them. The original Predator design in here, which is actually not the original. The original design looks something like an evil duck. But they went back to the drawing board. John McTiernan, Arnold Schwarzenegger said no. They went back and created one of the most iconic monsters in the history of cinema. The Predator, we had never seen anything like it. He saw with his infrared like heat vision, the mandibles, the what everybody called the dreadlocks, which are surely not hair, which is a message they didn't get in the Badlands. I'll get to that on a separate video. But this creature, huge, played by Kevin Peter Hall, I believe, who was like over 7 feet tall. Originally was going to be played by Van Damme, believe it or not. But one of the most iconic monsters ever on film. You ugly mother. Ugly, yes. Badass, absolutely. These films together spawned so many sequels. They're still doing them today. Crossovers. This is where it started. This is still the best the Predator has ever looked, and everybody should take a lesson. The detail in this monster here, absolutely incredible. The Predator comes in at number 2. And that just leaves number 1. And when you factor everything in this movie in, I don't think there's any question that The Thing is number 1. It's maybe not one monster. It's kind of like From Beyond. And From Beyond literally has The Thing level makeup in it. It really does. So does Fright Night. But and I could argue possibly that Alien and Predator should be above this one because they are a specific monster that's done so well. But when you put together all the practical effects in this movie, it just kind of stands alone. The different way that the thing can appear and change, the spider, the big thing with the head. The thing is good because it's like the thing with, because it's hard to explain what it is. Where the arms get bit off, the chest opens. The makeup in this is just part of what makes this movie so incredible. One of the greatest horror films ever made, in my opinion. You just cannot say enough good things about The Thing. Of course, Kurt Russell's one of my favorite actors of all time. John Carpenter is probably my second favorite director all time, behind Spielberg, just ahead of Cameron. I'll say that all the time. And I just don't think anything as a whole, when you talk about practical effects, touches it. But these movies are the reason I fell in love with horror. They are the reason I fell in love with sci-fi and sci-fi horror. And it's that practical, tangible realism that real practical makeup effects bring to movies. We have lost so much of that. And it's just CGI this, CGI that. Could you imagine what we would have lost if these people had done this? If you just tried to CGI your way through all of these films, you would have lost so much. And it is sad that we have to beg for this and that they have to put it as a feather in a cap if they did something practically, like they tried to say with Alien Romulus. We did this practically and this practically. Go back to doing it. Use real craftsmen, real artists, real filmmaking techniques, and you will get people back to the cinemas, and you will get new generations of people falling in love with your horrific monster creations. And that's what I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. These are some of my favorite, what I think are some of the best practical effects, makeup, movie monsters of all time. Let me know some of yours. What do you think of my list? We do all kinds of stuff here. If this is your first time here, we do awesome lists and reviews and rankings and stuff like this, 4K reviews, movie reviews, physical media news, all of that kind of stuff. And I come at it from a fan and a filmmaker's perspective because I'm a horror filmmaker. I've been a filmmaker for a really long time. I love it, and I love sharing all that passion, knowledge, and just my love for it all with you. If that is something you are interested in, please like and subscribe, y'all. It helps out the channel. Ring the bell so you don't miss this type of content. And if you want to help support what we do here even more, I'm going to be making one more turn behind the camera here pretty soon for one more horror movie. If you would like to support all that, you can join at my YouTube channel or my Patreon link right here. I'd steer you there because I can do a whole lot more there. But no matter what, you're going to get your name and lights on every single video, behind the scenes looks at my filmmaking, special members only videos, and so much more. And y'all, I really do appreciate it. But until next time, be kind, rewind like always. This is Chase with AV Pop Culture, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye. I know.